I was thinking about it, it's too late.
Let's call this meeting of the East Franklinton Review Board to order. No, call roll, please.
Mr. Burns,
Here.
Mr. Way. Ms. Schmidt.
Here.
Ms. Leonard.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney. Yeah. And Ms. Haynes. That's a four.
Let's sworn in. And well, swear affirm that your testimony will be true and accurate, but now believe. Where's that? We're going to have an opportunity to review the minutes from the last meeting. And are there any additions or corrections to say? Now, entertain a motion at this time.
So,
To approve.
Move to approve. Yes. Second.
And second.
that's. Ms. Burns. Ms. Schmidt.
Same.
Ms. Leonard. Mr. Sweeney. Thank you.
The Board of Business's continued applications. We have one, it is COA 2500289. The property address is 500 West Broad Street, batch 1. And the applicant is Dustin Todd. Step forward, please.
This application of the gravity project is a building alteration. The proposed work description. The project proposes a replacement of the existing cantilever balconies with the aluminum wall-mounted balconies on all residential units. The gravity 1 building located at 500 West Broad Street. The applicant is proposing 3 different balcony types with the following labels and details. The T balconies, and there will be 43 total trucks. Are to be crystal white colored trapezoidal shaped balconies that will be located on the west side of the building. Specifically, on the inner southwest rear courtyard portion, as well as the outer southwest side. The applicant is proposing 9 balconies with railings only. On the second floor and 34th full balcony replacement. The second type of balcony are the V balconies. They're going to be semi-gloss black, rectangular shaped balconies that will be located in the central and eastern portion of the building, specifically on the inner south and east rear courtyard, as well as the central east front courtyard and outer east side. The applicant is proposing 20 balconies with the railing only on the second floor and 78 full balcony replacements on the third. The last style are the balconies that will be. They'll be powder coat pink, the colored rectangular shaped balconies that will be located in the northwest to northeast side of the building. The applicant is proposing 15 balconies with railing only on the second floor, as well as 34 full balcony replacements on the third floor. The submission includes site plans, elevations, existing condition photos, and material specifications with the side cut sheets. The proposal aligns well with and is consistent with development and design standards of the East Franklinton Creative Community District. Proposed balcony placement minimally deviates from the original size, placement, and design of existing balconies. For these reasons, staff recommends approval of the application as presented.
Thank you. Mr. Staff. Applicants, step forward, please. What's your name for the record?
Dustin Todd.
And you swear from testimony about giving be true and accurate.
I do.
Yes, you're not believe.
I do.
Floor is yours.
I'm happy to answer any questions. Our overall goal with this was to replace the balconies as closely to what they are currently with as minimal disturbance to the residents as we could. So happy to address any questions you have.
That's why.
There was a treatment on some of the existing materials that has become a long-term maintenance issue. And after some investigation, we deemed it necessary to replace the majority of the balconies.
Yes. Any other questions? We got a problem with this. In case I wouldn't entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. Second, to approve the application is submitted. All please.
Ms. Fergus,
Approved.
Ms. Schmidt,
Approve.
Ms. Bennett, and Mr. Sweeney.
Approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under order of business today, it's a acceptable application. It is COA 40002. The address is 511 West Town Street, and the applicant is Dave Perry.
Thank you. Mr. President, I recuse myself in this application.
Good to see you. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to Lexington Street. Situation situated on the corner of East Town Street and Walnut. The project proposing a lot combination state frontage on West Town Street and construction of a 85 unit apartment building everything so. The development will feature bike storage, green space, and an in-fleet. The proposal is generally consistent with the Franklinton development standards, exception proposal exceeding maximum recommended density of 60 to 45 units per block area within an AI source. However, staff believe the external tendency is mitigated by high quality. The East Franklinton recommends the building stories that's at the ground and third floor. Design includes simple and short floor, which is consistent with the plan's recommendation. Additionally, the plan states that the proposed design should enhance East Franklinton's industrial character. The elevations fit contemporary detail and multiple styles of the structure, aligning with the industrial aesthetic of the equipment of the facility at the present. The project was first reviewed in July of 2024 and was approved by the board. With the staff approval conditions of an updated landscaping plan that shows what will be done with green space running West Town, as well as the replacement of the vinyl siding with more high quality material. The applicant has come back to the board with different proposals similar to the previous design. The use aligns well with the East Franklinton Creative Community District Plan, ensuring compatibility with adjacent uses. However, more information is needed to fully evaluate the proposal. Again, staff requests the following changes or updates to the application material. One is an updated site plan to the front side of the setbacks, details, and that include details of the rear alleyway. Replacement of proposed vinyl siding with more high quality material. Inclusion of south and west colored elevation with the locations where the material is applied from the building. And then lastly, updated elevations that are consistent with the scope of the building. I think one quick thing, the applicant did have an updated site plan. So that's what you have.
Right.
You just didn't quite make it into the material package, but I wouldn't.
And these files are on that USB drive for you also, Nolan?
I appreciate it. Well, exactly.
Questions for staff?
I do have one question. I don't remember during the initial approval, was our recommendation goes as far as paving the unmaintained?
That would be
What is it?
What was proposed previously was that, I believe, 3/4 of that alley, just about 3/4 of the word planned to be paved, but not that, not the section, that ends at the next street over. It would just be the length of the building, essentially. It wasn't something that was necessarily in our purview, but we were able to recommend that this. So that's more of a traffic. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, the gentleman, will you, state your name for the record, please?
Tom O'Brien.
Alex Marsh.
And I'm Dave Perry. Tom and Alex are the principals of the Rocky Fork Partners, and I'm consulting for them on this application.
Swear or affirm. That's what you're about to give will be true and accurate, to the best of your knowledge and belief.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Nolan, for the recap of 2024 and where we are now. You might put up that site plan that's on the USB drive, and then members of the board, you have a current site plan, current landscaping plan, current building renderings, and a list of zoning variances. So I'll give Nolan a minute to get that up. The project has been reduced from 85 units to 75. And we've had, I was not particularly involved with in 2024, but we've had a number of more technical discussions with the city staff, traffic management notably. And they have made some requests in terms of the parking structure, parking spaces in the parking structure that this current site plan reflects. And the project requires certain zoning variances that are listed on the summary sheet of the variance application that's pending. It's an application to the Board of Zoning Adjustment, BZA 25-031. And I'll review the site plan quickly. Well, I can't read that from here, so. It should say 511 site plan.
Are you looking for the previous site plan, Nolan?
No,
This one. Okay, this one.
was updated.
Okay.
Okay, that's not reading. I thought we were. None of those files are open.
Just technical difficulties. See. I apologize, to be able to work.
Okay. Okay, we'll just work with the paper then. So,
Nolan, I'm happy to email it to you right now if that'd be helpful.
Okay, that'd be great. You have the color renderings.
I just sent it to you. There it is.
yeah, okay, that's also in your packet. That is a sheet, the color landscaping plan. But the The site plan has been updated. The building footprint is the same. We have the 6 parcels on West Town, almost fully covered by the building, and then the 7th parcel is on the east side of Mead Alley, a six space parking lot for the building also. We have the variance application pending. Let me touch on that briefly so you know where we're coming from on the variance issues. That's this sheet. We are reducing parking from 75 spaces to 70. Number 1 variance, the entrance to the structured parking is 16 feet wide rather than 20. Traffic management has said that 16 feet is acceptable. And then we're showing 2 parking spaces that are 8.5 feet wide on that lower right corner rather than 9 feet wide. So those are the variances. The site plan reflects that. Tom and Alex have advanced this process through the technical review with the city, and we've had the feedback of the various city departments, and there was some updating to do. Nolan, given the time that's gone by, Nolan indicated that it would be a good idea to come back to you for an update and discussion of the application, and then we would like to be back on the board in May for your vote on the project. So that's where things are. The site plan at the northeast corner shows a leasing office. That's accessory on-site office for leasing and management of the building. And then we're showing at the northwest corner an area marked as 1,500 square foot commercial. Whether Tom and Alex are figuring out whether that's a fitness use, I think that's the preference at the moment, but in the zoning, I've allowed for that to be fitness, retail, office, and restaurant. At a maximum of 1,500 square feet, there is no parking required, so it doesn't affect the parking numbers, but it provides either on-site fitness for the apartments with perhaps some outside use, or provides another small commercial use for the property that seems to be supported by the East Franklinton overlay. So then the landscaping plan, I'll have to graphically merge this with the site plan. That's the request of the plan review staff in terms of depicting planting and trees, but this will be more specific for your review. And then I'm going to ask Tom or Alex to run through the current building elevations. There are the 4 elevations provided, and I'll ask them to update you on where they are with materials.
Sure. So in the packet that you have in front of you, the materials have been updated. We read through Nolan's comments after our July meeting last year. It was clearly indicated that the board didn't support vinyl on the building, so that's been removed to replaced with hardy board. So it's not our intention to have any vinyl, but we try to stay with the same materials that were reviewed and approved last July. The building elevations matured a little bit as we got into the units, got into the functionality of the units, but we tried to stay with the design aesthetic as much as we could. So we did switch architects since we were last here. So the elevations have, again, just gotten a little bit more detailed, but we open your feedback to these new elevations in front of you.
On the question, Ms. Schmidt, I believe you had a question about the alley. The site plan reflects the widening of the alley from Mead west, but not beyond the west property line. So there, it will be widened with right-of-way conveyance from Tom and Alex to the city and paved and so on, but then it does not proceed in that format farther beyond the property.
Did either of you have any conversations with the adjacent property owners to discuss extending that out
we notified all the property owners of the alley improvements, and we have not heard from any of them that they want to improve their alley. So we're improving along our property line completely, and so I think it'd be up to them or the city to improve the rest of it.
And we, at the very beginning, we tried to incorporate those parcels into the project, and that wasn't well received. So I think there's a right of way take here that would need to be agreed to by those parcel owners, and we just don't see that happening at this point.
Yeah, ideally, we'd like full access, but
Right.
we've reached out to them and haven't been able to figure anything out. I think their thought is they're sitting on land. Why would they spend money to put an alley in? But we'd love it.
And it'll be developed at some point, and then it'll be paved.
Tell me about the retail space that you guys had, or the workout space, where is that?
It's this area on the site plan, left side of the page.
Yeah, we're 99% sure it's going to be a fitness user that will have memberships that folks in the community can use the gym, sign up for membership, and then also the apartment residents will use it as well.
Okay, and one of my questions, didn't know maybe this came up in our last meeting, I can't remember, but it's such an important street of Franklinton. So, and we know Walnut Street, there's so much stuff that's going to be coming around that. What made you guys not explore more mixed use on that first level? Like when I think of Ridge Street, when I think of, Gravity, there's so much mixed unit. What makes you guys not explore that except for fitness for your tenants and maybe some residents around?
I think it's really the depth of our site and the ability to park it. If you were going to do retail on the first floor, where would all those folks park? And in order to do a garage, you need room for the ramps. And so we studied, hey, does it make sense to go taller here? But we wanted to also be a good neighbor and not build something more than 4 stories. So I think, we tried to accommodate with some ground floor commercial space and then also the ground floor leasing office. But I think in just studying this with the city and the parking, that was the most we were able to fit in.
And actually this current, the application where it is now for Tom and Alex broadens that possibility because I'm providing for retail and restaurant. 1,500 square feet of restaurant could be at some point in the future if they decide the fitness needs to change or whatever.
But it does sound like it's fitness. Is what you guys are going
The plan is fitness now, but I also have to account for that in the project as it is not exclusively residents of the building. So that in itself is establishing a commercial aspect to the project.
Yeah, we're in discussions with the fitness user to open a commercial gym out of that space where he would train clients, people in the neighborhood could sign up for membership, those type of things.
And it's a separate lease. It's not, our tenants will have access to it. The Benjamin across the street will have access to it, but
about the walkability, like, to kind of
Mhm.
create this neighborhood.
yeah.
It's a really important piece to get people to walk through it and track, and I just know this street is so important. I think to where Franklinton can go, and knowing what's gonna be behind it and all around it. That would be the only thing I wish I saw more. And I think it would be wonderful for the neighborhood. And when I think about gyms, I know Ridge has a gym, Ridge Street has a gym, we have tours, and I know this is stuff that will have coming, but I do think for the vibrancy of the neighborhood, that's just my thought being on that. I think that is the future of where the neighborhood can go. So those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, and to Alex's point, we studied it and we agree. Town would be great to be activated. It'd be great for us to have more ground floor retail, but even throughout the site plan compliance process, the building was squeezed down by 4 or 5 feet because of the right of way take, and that reduced our parking count as well. And so this is the most functional design that we've been able to.
I think working with the city, they have, like Tom said, squeezed down our site and our ability to build on it just with some, alley improvements and landscaping and those type of things. So, we've spent over a year on this project at this point, trying to refine it as much as possible.
Yep, and I mean, that's just, I mean, from what we've been seeing gravity and, again, I'm over at Land Grant, so just knowing, working with Kaufman to try and activate the neighborhood to make it more desirable for tenants to come in. Those are ways that we've been partnering up, and it is through like things that we've done at the Experience Park. So again, when I just think about, making these units more viable, it's, we think like that, I think the tenants will come and become really, it just.
More activated, yeah.
Yeah. One thing you could consider, which is building off of what you were saying, is I'm not sure the fee proximity to where the River and Ridge parking garage is, but it could be worth exploring like a shared parking agreement to allow.
Yeah, I know they just expanded with West Ridge, which is the same ownership group, so I would think the parking's gonna be controlled over there, but, yeah, I think unfortunately this is kind of the most we could do on the site.
I do have a few additional questions. Looks like there was the addition of balconies, which I think are very supportive of providing spaces. Does that extend all the units or just some of the units?
I think
All the units.
every unit will have some type of outdoor balcony space. Now, some will be on the amenity deck off the back, so it won't be, you'll be able to walk out onto the deck, but on the second floor.
And I know that there was a reduction in books of 10 units. Will any of the originally planned for affordable units be impacted by that reduction?
No.
No.
Is the commitment still to provide
Affordable.
units more affordable with not $100?
I think
We have
whatever,
some smaller studios.
yeah, I mean, we have
Those are
smaller
single
units in
purpose.
there, but I think the thought is whatever the affordability requirements are that the city dictates will follow.
Thank you. And lastly, the for green space in the upper, this northeast corner that's provided, and you consider putting like them or
Our plan is to put a bench there, yeah. Yeah.
say that would really help activate that space.
Yeah.
We thought about, and a dog station too. Bags and
Yeah, and our goal, out of that lobby space is to activate it with live music and have folks, want to live at that community because there are things going on, whether it's incorporating events with the neighbors and those type of things. The fitness user we're talking to has an existing location nearby, so I think they'll be able to pull some folks over there and kind of activate that entire stretch of Town Street is our goal.
It is the amenity deck, is that accessible to all the residents?
Correct. Yeah, that south elevation, you can see the back of the building where you'll see that amenity deck.
I mean, when I hear things like you talk about Town Street and activating it, I mean, that would again just be something I'd say about. When I do look at this, it's pretty traditional. When I think about, in a lot of these conversations, just knowing this is conceptual, it's like, we're in an art neighborhood, we have artists, we have music. So that would just be, then in other places that we supporting the neighborhood, Franklinton Arts District.
Yeah, and we would love to incorporate as much art music as possible into it and embrace the community and make it somewhere where folks want to live. So, if there's public art on the side of the building, we're open to that.
Yeah.
We're trying to fit what we can on this site, and we're challenged because it's not a deep site like River and Ridge. So we can't fit all that retail on the front unless we want to have way below the parking requirements, which we're already asking for a parking variance under this plan. So we've really studied this and worked with various departments of the city to try to work through these challenges.
And the plan was to do some unique signage to match the Benjamin one across the street.
Yeah.
Our thought was that's a separate application to you guys, so that's why it wasn't included here, but that's our intention. And we've always talked about a wall mural and things like that, but that's just not,
Yeah.
it's not my forte, so, we'll work with somebody I mean, again, we want to fit in with the neighborhood. We're building the houses across the street. We're partnering with the Benjamin across the street as those cool pink glasses. And so We don't want it to look traditional. That's not our intention.
Remarketing these apartments is for Franklinton.
Franklinton.
I think it's important when we're thinking about a historically marginalized community and a lot of displacement and displacement, the language and
Sure.
the name, the space and the place of rent is incredibly important. And start referring to the neighborhood as an extension
Of the
of the peninsula, that is gentrification in action. And I think it would be very important to consider when we're talking about development in Franklinton.
Sure. Yeah, we've tried to do that with the houses across the street as well, so we'll continue that here.
It's what you're from us, this is conceptual, so. For your information.
We'd like to hear any and all comments you have on the plans. We've heard some. To allow the preparation of this for a vote in May.
I don't think I had any items.
From my side, I don't necessarily.
Are the materials acceptable that are shown here? Obviously, we'll jazz it up a bit with some artwork and signage and things like that, but
It seems like the material is of them with the approved materials we picked from last year.
Which
I
would
know
be,
that this cut sheet still says final operating, and said that would be already board.
yes. Would you be open to us having public art on the side of the building? And showing that on the elevations?
I think the board
Having,
Okay,
if that's something you guys are serious about. that-
yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think just looking at these elevations, you have some sides of the buildings that you could easily, fit some art on.
Just wanted to make clear really quickly about variances. We really only have to, reviewing applications, and we'll really only have to essentially look and see at the second one, the driveway to reduce the two-way access and then for parking from 20 feet to 16 feet. That's really kind of the only thing, the only variance that's in our, everything else is kind of how essentially through mandatory parking services. East Franklinton is within a special parking area. So essentially when reviewing, we don't necessarily have to consider the first and the third variance, which is all clear.
Second, that kind of safety thing.
Yeah, we're able, it's more of looking at the two-way access and if that's appropriate for East Franklinton. We'll just look at wrong, that we're able to interpret as a board, we're able to interpret that. Ultimately, the final say will go to engineering, but we have our location of where.
One comment I'll make to that is originally we had access off Town Street as well, which we've removed to kind of help with that streetscape and make all access off that rear alley, which has made it tighter for maneuverability. I mean, if we wanted to, we'd have a 20-foot wide driveway off Town Street, but I don't think anyone wants to see that.
And as I said earlier when we started, one of the things that's been going on is the technical meetings with the city have been occurring, traffic management in particular, and also the city's preliminary site compliance plan process, because the project has to work, of course, with all the technical aspects with the city.
One other quick question, sorry. If Nolan, if you don't mind, put up the west elevation. So that's when you're coming in off Town Street heading towards downtown. There's some windows there that I think if you removed, you could do some signage or some public art. I'm just curious your guys' thoughts on that west elevation, where that commercial space is gonna be. If you removed a set of windows, maybe two of them, you could fit a nice public art display as you're coming downtown.
Those windows, like where do they provide light into?
Well, so the front elevation will have windows as well. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 windows in the front of the commercial space.
So all of the, are you talking about ones that are?
I'm talking about the west elevation.
To the commercial space.
Yeah, we don't. We have the ones that are- It's just an packet.
We have like a. Small.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too. Yep, there's, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows on the first floor.
Oh, it's the first floor.
Yeah, the first floor, yep. And my thought is to have some artwork on the first floor right there as you're coming down Town Street.
I mean, I think we could generally be supportive of that, provided again, there's light and windows in the front. You know, certainly we look at just the average neighborhood.
Yeah, also on the east elevation where it shows the number 6, you've got room for some public art too. Which is kind of
In
the,
there, so
which is kind of the entrance to the building, yeah, and 7 as well.
yeah, I think there's definitely room for opportunity to hit look over Urban and Rich as an example. Of
Yeah, and that's been our inspiration for this project is River and Rich. And that's, has had a lot of success in Franklinton, so we've tried to mirror a lot of those aspects. So maybe on the elevations we resubmit, we show where we were thinking the public art would go.
Yeah.
Nolan, anything on these materials introduced today from the staff perspective?
I was gonna say, I think, we got those last two, lower elevation. Yeah. Looks like we didn't make it. So, yeah. It's gonna be.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your time.
See you next month.
Our next meeting. The next meeting. Wednesday, May 28th. Yeah, here. That. So much.